Welcome back to Channel Name, where we dive deep into military history, legendary war machines, and battlefield innovations. If you're passionate about armored warfare and historic military engineering, you've come to the right place. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming content. Today, we're taking a closer look at one of the Soviet Union's earliest multi-turreted heavy tanks, the T-28. This formidable machine played a crucial role in the early days of World War II, setting the stage for the evolution of Soviet armored vehicles. The T-28 was one of the world's first medium tanks, developed by the Soviet Union in the 1930s. Designed to break through enemy defenses, it featured a unique layout with a large main turret housing a 76.2mm KT-28 gun, along with two smaller turrets equipped with 7.62mm machine guns. This configuration was meant to provide additional firepower against infantry and fortifications. The tank saw action during the Soviet-Finnish Winter War in the early stages of Operation Barbarossa. However, as warfare evolved and Germany introduced more powerful tanks like the Panzer IV and Tiger, the T-28 quickly became outdated. Despite its shortcomings in armor and firepower, it remains an iconic vehicle in the history of Soviet tank development. For 2025, there aren't any new updates on the T-28 since it is a historical vehicle and no longer in production. However, interest in this tank continues among military historians, collectors, and museum enthusiasts. Some museums around the world have been restoring T-28 models, and advancements in 3D printing and digital modeling have allowed enthusiasts to recreate highly detailed replicas of this historic war machine. If you're lucky, you might even find one in working condition at a military museum, where you can see its massive presence up close. Under the hood, the T-28 was powered by an M17 gasoline engine, a V12 derived from an aircraft engine, producing around 500 horsepower. This gave the tank a top speed of approximately 37 km per hour, 23 miles per hour, which was quite respectable for a medium tank of its time. Power was delivered through a manual transmission with a multi-gear setup, allowing the crew to navigate various terrains effectively. However, due to its weight of about 25 tons, the T-28 was not the most agile vehicle, especially when crossing difficult landscapes. Its performance in combat was hindered by mechanical issues and the limited reliability of early Soviet engineering. Fuel economy was not a strong suit for the T-28, as it consumed a large amount of fuel to operate. With a fuel capacity of around 450 liters, it had a relatively short operational range of about 180 to 220 km on roads. In real-world conditions, especially in combat scenarios, fuel efficiency was even lower due to the engine's high consumption and the constant need to maneuver on rough terrain. This was a significant logistical challenge for Soviet forces, as refueling and maintaining a fleet of these tanks required extensive support. Inside the T-28, the crew consisted of 6 men: commander, gunner, loader, driver, and 2 machine gunners. The interior was cramped, as was typical for tanks of this era. Comfort was not a priority in its design, and crew members had to endure harsh conditions, especially in extreme temperatures. There was minimal padding inside, and the lack of proper insulation made operations during winter brutal. Cargo space was virtually non-existent, with most available room dedicated to ammunition and essential equipment. Infotainment and connectivity were, of course, non-existent in a 1930s military vehicle. However, the T-28 did feature a radio, which was a significant advancement at the time, as many tanks of that era relied on flag signaling for communication. The inclusion of a radio provided a crucial advantage in coordinating movements on the battlefield, making the T-28 one of the early Soviet tanks to implement this technology widely. When it comes to safety and driver assistance features, the T-28 was primitive by modern standards. Its armor ranged from 20mm to 30mm thick, which was sufficient against small arms fire and early anti-tank weapons but became increasingly ineffective against later German tanks and artillery. The crew's safety was further compromised by the tank's tendency to catch fire when hit, a problem exacerbated by its gasoline-powered engine. There were no escape hatches on the bottom, so if the tank was immobilized, the crew had limited ways to evacuate under fire. Additionally, the mechanical reliability of the T-28 was questionable, often leading to breakdowns that left crews stranded in dangerous situations. In conclusion, the T-28 was an ambitious design that played an important role in early Soviet tank development. While it was eventually outclassed by more advanced tanks, it represented a crucial step in the evolution of armored warfare. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the T-28, let us know in the comments below which tank you'd like us to cover next. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more military history content. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.